What's good, people? I'm GALANACCI the Creator, a Manila born, Cardiff trained, and London raised artist, designer, creator, and I am the founder of GALANACCI, a luxury humanwear brand, inspiring you to realize your full potential. And today is episode 17. It's actually Thursday. I have kind of adjusted how I record this, because usually I record on Friday, but there's just a lot of editing to do, so I rather edit a day earlier, so on a Thursday. But yeah, man, we'll just recap the week, and I actually kind of sort of structured this episode in more detail so that it's it's like a reflective review. So similar to how back in architecture, I did these PEDRs, so professional experience development record or something like that. I actually have it here. I forgot the actual full name, but yeah, I think it's somewhere along those lines. And then that's like, I would record my experience quarterly, but then it was like every week I would write something. But yeah, we'll just get into it. Yeah, so the weekly overview. So what was the main goals this week? And then like the key activities. So the main goal this week was to finish off the technical drawings from last week, and then start doing the technical packs for each of these pieces in the core collection. And that's what I focused on this week. So I completed the technical drawings on Monday or Tuesday, and then started doing the technical pack for the t-shirt. Yesterday, Wednesday, Tuesday. And started to build this technical pack. And this technical pack is what you send off to manufacturers, and that's where you lay out all the sort of details of the designs. So like the colorways, the neck label, the construction, just a whole bunch, you cover everything so that the manufacturers can create what you intend to create, what you had in mind, like your vision. And the challenges and solutions for this week, I would say like the key challenges I was like mad low on motivation this week specifically. And obviously creating documents, that's like the most boring part of like the process, but it has to be done. It's also like the most important part, because that's where all your ideas are stored, and that's the beginning of your ideas being turned into reality. So it's an important integral part of the process. And how did I like respond to like this challenge of like having low motivation? I tried to fall back on my discipline. I did what I can with what I had, what I had to give. So let's say I had like just 20% in me, I would give 20%. So then in hindsight, it's practically 100. You're giving 100%, even though your output is like one step compared to like a whole giant leap. But it happens, man. When motivations are low, you're still gonna do the shit. So you have to fall back on your discipline, and you literally do what you can, And what was like the learnings I did this week from the whole experience. So like starting a tech pack, it just reminded me of how it was like back then when I was working in an architecture firm, because I worked on technical drawings, but it was for buildings. So I was like setting up the pages, I was creating these scaled drawings so that we can put it in a technical package, so we can send it off to the engineers, to the contractors, so that they can proceed with into the next stage. And it's the same thing for the clothing. So it's nothing new to me, and also I have previous experience working at Yeboah for 2 years, did some technical drawings there and whatnot. So I'm familiar with it, but obviously it will be like the first time that I'm doing something like a technical pack that's very detailed for Galanacci, because I want these. See, I'm wearing the core t-shirt right now. I want this to be produced, because I did this myself. Like I cut up the emblems and then sewed it and then cropped it. So I made this, so I have an initial sample to work from, to get the measurements, to get the details and whatnot. But yeah, in the future I want to produce more of this so that I can actually start selling them, And yeah, whilst working on the technical pack, I also remember that back in architecture we had architecture itself has like this naming file, like a file naming system. Obviously it's like to be able to identify what these sheets are and what they are for. So whether it be like the technical drawings, the renders, the materials, that's all sort of labeled under the file name. So then I use ChatGPT to try and implement that into what I'm doing now. So as I am creating these technical packs, I'm also implementing the naming system, so that in the future it's easier to organize the documents and then for people to understand what documents I'm referring to, even when sending to manufacturers in the future. But yeah, I started doing that, and also what I realized is it's important to actually start building like a company manual, so like the how-tos and the whatnot. So how to do a specific thing, how to name a specific style design, how to name your files. So I started creating manuals for that using ChatGPT. Just you might as well leverage AI to help you create these little mini how-to documents. So I started doing that, and I will start doing that more, because obviously I plan to bring this scale this brand up, this business, so that I'll have a team in the future. And then in order to have a team, they need to understand how I work, and then the best way to do that is to create the manuals. So yeah, gotta start somewhere, and we're learning as we go and implementing as we go. And the achievements I would say for this week, it's like being able to start those manuals and then implementing them, and just overall it's doing that, being able to do those manuals. I actually just keep them on my notes, but once I have enough, I'll turn it into a document, so that you have like a proper manual, so that when I start to onboard people properly, they'll know how I work and how the company internally works. So that's an important aspect. And for like the next step, so for next week, when I release this, it will be next week already. So I'll be talking about the current week where this episode drops, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the future plans, the main goal for next week is completing the first technical pack, so the t-shirt. So being able to have that completely done from top to bottom, and then start working on the next piece. There's like 12 pieces in the core collection which are like foundational, so I'm gonna work through those to create the technical pack. And also to share more of the raw and uncut behind the scenes of Galanacci. So literally, I already started now this week, like sharing it on my personal page, but now it's being more sort of consistent with it, like the proper like point and shoot, like turn on the camera, point and shoot. Like I won't even bother like cutting it up, like it's just raw, and I'll post that on my personal page, you know, to live up to the name Galanacci the Creator. I gotta create, man, even if it's still like in the rough stage and whatnot. Gotta share each step. It's a journey at the end of the day, you know. And that will be available on my personal TikTok, Threads, and Instagram. So at galanacci.the.creator. And yeah, that should wrap up what I did this week in detail. And yeah, we'll move to the next segment. I replaced the thought of the week with like the motivational poem of the week, which I wrote. And I think it's that way it's just more on brand, you know. And this poem I wrote is titled I Am Greatness. I am greatness, the fingerprint of the universe imprinted in me. I am the creator, I am the conqueror, I am the king, I am greatness. And yeah, man, that's the poem, man. Like, if you ever feeling down or low motivation, man, you know that you're a king, man, or a queen. But yeah, man, that's that, man. That's this episode wrapped up. Yeah, man, if you reached this far, you already know, like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Let's go.